I have a question for you. Do you truly understand deeply and profoundly what the moon means in your astrological chart? Now, answer that question sincerely, because the moon is way more than just your emotions. And in this video, I am going to show you how to peel the onion about your astrological moon placement. And it's not just what sign is your moon in. I hope by now you guys have all ordered my gorgeous natal chart. If you haven't, go to soulnavigation.com and get my gorgeous natal chart. I designed them myself and they're super easy to read. I need you to know the house that your moon is in, and I need you to know the sign that it's in for this video. But I hope that you will watch my entire playlist on the moon, because I'm going to give you new material that I haven't found anywhere on the internet. And I don't know why people aren't talking about this, but you need to know a lot more than just the sign in the house. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to talk about your natal chart. So go run and get your natal chart and dig in deep with me, and let's learn about what the moon really means in the astrological chart and what your moon means in your astrological natal chart. Are you ready? It's going to be really fun, super fascinating, and a little bit mind-blowing. You guys, what does the moon mean? A lot of astrologers and a lot of people on YouTube are like, well, this is your emotional makeup. And that is not true. That's true. But it represents, I mean, I could probably sit here for 8 hours and talk to you about the meaning of the moon. I'm going to give you a couple of the most profound meanings of the moon. And we're going to look at a little technique that I have. I'm going to give it to you at the end of this video around understanding how your moon expresses itself and what is it trying to express and what is the purpose of it in your own chart at the end of this video. So stay through all the way to the end. And by the way, please share this video with anybody and like and subscribe. I've had so many people say, gosh, I just discovered you. I've never found you. I'm like, wow, I've been doing this for 4 years, but I don't think my videos get pushed out there. So help me and share this with at least just one person. I'd be so grateful. The moon represents, one of the things it represents is the relationship that you developed with your mom or your mother figure. And it describes how you see her, how you relate to her, and the emotional bond that you and her created. The moon, as you guys know, correlates to the 4th house in the chart, and it shows us what expected role you were supposed to play in your family. And what role did your mom play in your family? You know, it tells me what your archetypal role was in your family, and that's no small thing. How did your family, how did your culture, how did your heritage, how did your roots, how did the food that you ate, the house that you lived in, get placed upon you? What role was adopted out of all those circumstances? Tell me in the comments below right now, before you even tell me what moon sign you have, tell me what role is your archetypical role in your family. What role did you play? Peacemaker, the creative spirit? Were you the parent, the child parent? What was the archetype that you played in order to survive your family dynamic? That's an important question. And that is the question of the moon. The moon is going to show you your early conditioning and how you responded and felt about your early years, how you felt, not what you thought, not what you saw, but what you felt about your early years when you were a child. It shows us also, are you ready for this? And not a lot of people talk about this, but it shows us your relationship in the womb. Yes, it is our womb experience. If you think about anything being born, or if you think about the concept of creation, it always begins with water. All of life starts inside water. It takes water to create life. Right? And your womb experience was in water, amniotic fluid. And the moon, ruled by Cancer, is water. I want you guys to know something that I also haven't heard a lot of, and I want you to know. On this channel, I want you to know the deeper truths. I want to break through superficial stereotypes. I want you to understand the deepest parts of astrology. So I want to pass that on to you so you can have and work with the truths. You develop your moon way before you develop your sun sign, which is your identity, right? Or your rising sign. Well, we don't even know your rising sign until you're born. So you develop your persona later, and you develop your sun sign, your identity, the essence of you, through external factors, right? Through all the external factors where the world gets to start to shape you. And that's your sun sign. But you develop your moon sign at the moment you were created, when the cells came together and you are inside the womb. The moon you develop privately. It is the relationship that you have with self when you are in the womb, but it is also the symbiotic relationship with mother too. So it is how your mother's emotions shaped you in the womb, but it is also how you nurtured and loved your own self and how you self-soothed when you were by yourself in the womb. Your moon sign is the more private inner you. We don't share our moon signs with just anyone. We don't. We only share our moon signs with people or animals that we care about. Your moon sign is your emotional nature. But what is that? Those are your emotional, non-logical feelings and reactions to life, to circumstances, and to all situations. Your rising and your sun sign can be seen. They're your presentation. They are your personality, your essence. But your moon sign will not be seen. Your moon sign will never be seen. Your moon sign will be felt. It's hidden. Your moon sign is energy. It is the emotional energy that you emit into the air. You may see the essence of you or your persona or your personality deliver your feelings, deliver your moon sign. So I may deliver my feelings of love through my rising sign, right? My rising sign might come in very flamboyantly to deliver what it is that I feel down here inside. That's deep inside of me. That's my moon. The moon is going to describe how I will nurture others, how I learned to nurture others, and how I will protect others, and how I will mother others. And it is also how I was nurtured, how I was protected or was not protected, how I made emotional adjustments if I did not get something that my emotional heart needed. It shows us how we take care of things, and it shows us what we want to cultivate, what we want to nurture, what we actually want to grow. It shows us how we are going to love and nurture others. It shows us how we value being loved and nurtured, what makes me feel loved and nurtured. It shows us our daily life and our routines and our emotional habits. It shows us our interactions emotionally with every single minute of the day. How we feel about every single minute of the day. You are doing your moon sign every single minute of the day. I mean, you can suppress your personality, and you can even suppress like your approach to life far more than you can suppress your feelings. Our moon shows us how we feel emotionally secure and what allows us to feel that security. It is our sentimental side. What do we get sentimental about? What makes us cry? What makes us get choked up? What makes us feel euphoria? What moves you? That's your moon sign. That's not your sun sign. That's not your Mercury either. That's not your mind. Let's talk about what our emotional nature is. It's how we are emotionally responding to others and to situations. How do we respond? Have you ever met an emotionally defensive person, somebody who is just like constantly on defense, right? Well, that's their moon. Go look at their chart and tell me if their moon is in hard aspect to Saturn, to Mars, or to the sun, or to their rising sign. So is it in square or opposition? An emotionally defensive person usually is somebody who has emotional insecurities, whose moon cannot be fully self-expressed in its rightful vibrancy and feelings. If your sun and your moon, or your Mars and your moon, or your moon and your rising sign conflict, if they're in conflicting energies, it's going to be harder for your moon to feel safe expressing itself. I want you to tell me, what aspect is your sun and moon in? Are they in harmony? Are they in signs that like each other? Or are they in a more tense aspect? If you want to have a truly fulfilling life, a life that feels safe and euphoric and gleeful and joyful, you got to get your moon right. The moon will show me how your family, but mostly how your mother interacted with you and what lessons she taught you about emotions and about your feelings. Did she teach you that it's not okay to cry and to just get on with things? Did she teach you that a cookie will make your heart feel better? Did she soothe you with food? Was she shut down and cold, didn't talk about emotions? Or did she teach you to be stoic and strong and take it like a man? What did she teach you? Did she teach you to talk about your feelings, to share your feelings, that it was okay to cry on her shoulder? Did she teach you that she was your safe place? Yeah, that's your moon. Our moon is also going to show us how we nurture others. Oftentimes, how we want to be nurtured and loved is usually found in the high side, in the light side, in the healthy side of your moon sign. But it's much more than that. The moon is also our internal monologue about how we feel about ourselves, not what we think about ourselves, but how do I feel about this face that I have? How do I feel about this body that I have? Does this body make me feel good or make me feel bad? It's not what I think about it, it's how I feel about it. It's my internal monologue with myself around how I feel about myself. Are we skinny but we feel fat? Are we pretty but we feel ugly? Well, our moon, if that is the truth, is delusional and insecure. So go look at the relationship your moon has to Venus, Neptune, and the sun. And if it's in hard aspect to any one of those planets, then you might have negative feelings about yourself that are not quite accurate, that are not quite the truth. Facts and logic and reasoning and measuring the truth are Virgo and Gemini's job and Mercury's job. But the moon has no IQ. The moon is not smart or dumb. The moon just is. It's like, this nail polish. This nail polish, I don't know if you can tell, but it's red. Is it bad that it's red? Is it good that it's red? No, it's just red, right? That's like the moon. It's not bad, it's not good, it just is. I also want to say if the moon is in hard aspect to Saturn, we can have negative feelings about self. So it's our internal monologue about self. So tell me how the moon sits in your chart. And if you don't know, come to soulnavigation.com and click on book a reading and get a reading with anybody on my team over at soulnavigation.com and get a moon reading and understand yourself at the deepest level. Everybody over there is just a phenomenal reader. And it's like one hour reading is like 17 years worth of therapy. It's so good. And if you can't do that or don't want to do that, then I really highly recommend that you get the starter package or my advanced Astro Gold package, which if you already have your starter package, get the advanced Astro Gold package because it goes so deep into all your planetary placements and it shows you exactly layer by layer by layer by layer how your whole chart will be unwrapped and what it all means. It's just invaluable. People who don't have self-awareness, people who haven't done self-discovery, they have a harder time in every aspect of life. I'm not kidding. If you have no self-awareness, you have such a hard time having a relationship, a healthy relationship to self, to your children, to your parents, to your partners, or even in your job. So I love this work that I do, and I love sharing this knowledge with you all. I'm going to go into every single moon sign, and we are going to go so deep into the aspects of the moon, the void of course moon, and out of bounds moon. What does that mean if you have an out of bounds moon? And if you have one of my gorgeous natal charts, you will be able to see if you have an out of bounds moon. Not every chart will show you that. So I cannot recommend getting one of my gorgeous natal. They're so beautiful, you can actually frame them. Anyways, and I email it to you. Just go to soulnavigation.com, click on my shop tab, and then you'll find all of my astrology reports and my charts. Okay, let's keep going. We know the moon has the most profound effect on us out of all of the planets. And I think the sun and the moon, but primarily the moon, because the moon comes before the sun in the development of you, in the creation of you. And we know that the moon creates the ebb and flow of the ocean tides. We all know that, right? And we also know that animals relate to the moon, to the full moon, when the moon reflects the most light and the least amount of light. Oysters open under full moons. We know that the moon creates internal moods and shifts inside of us because of the amount of water, 70-75%. I don't know the exact percentage of how much a human body, how much water a human body holds. But we know that there's an ebb and flow. And that's why on full moons, we have full emotions. And on new moons, we're highly ambitious. So we know that the moon is actually one of the two planets, really the planet that actually does something to us. Saturn doesn't do anything to us. Saturn tells us a karmic story about the lessons that we're here to learn. By the way, go watch my Saturn playlist if you haven't, and because you want to know what your karmic story is. But the moon actually does something to us. So does the sun. The sun creates pigmentation. The sun creates life and vibrancy. If you don't have sunshine, you can create, it creates depression, right? So it creates a vibrancy. That's why we call those two planets luminaries. Those are not really planets. Those are luminaries. The moon is going to show us how and where we need to be connected and where we need to belong to others. Oh, this is Ivy. Isn't it cute that she came to my moon video? So are you shy to pursue others emotionally? Do you have a shy moon placement? Like, is your moon in the 4th house, the 8th house, or the 12th house? Those are shy and reserved placements for the moon. Those are the introverted houses. And it's also who we are when we're not trying, when our mask is just off, when we're just raw and roar. Right? It's like when our ugly emotions show, that's also your moon. When you are a tyrant, when you are like kind of gross, yelling at someone, mad at someone, unfiltered, those Karens that we see in the videos, those Karens, that's the moon. That's not Mars. That's the moon. It might be the moon in relationship to Mars, but those are pent up emotions of something going on. And then Mars executes and delivers the emotion. So it's who we are when we're not trying. It's who we are when we don't give a... It's who we are when we aren't wearing our mask or our protocol. It's who we are when we don't have manners. Our manners can be the moon because it can be a feeling of important for some people, but oftentimes manners come from Venus and your rising sign. Now for a new take on the moon. Is this not the cutest moon video ever? She was like, I'm going to help you do the moon. And I need you to stop talking to all those people, Mama. And I need you to pay attention to me. And I want cat food and snuggles. She's so cute. She's not letting me go. I think her moon is a little bit jealous. This is going to be a big moon series, and I want you guys to stay in touch every single week for each moon sign and for the different subjects on the moon, and come watch all of them, because you can understand the depths of each sign and understand that part of your chart, even if your moon is not in that sign. So if I'm talking about Aries moon, but you have a Libra moon, we'll go find where Aries is in your chart. And that part of your chart will hold that energy that I talk about. Let me remind everyone that the moon rules the sign of Cancer. We know that the moon is in detriment in the opposite sign of Cancer. And I'm going to give you guys 1 second to tell me what is the opposite sign of Cancer, because I know if you're on this channel, you get astrology, because I have so many advanced learners, and I love that you guys have told me, so many of you have told me that I've really helped you understand the deeper aspects of astrology, and that makes my heart sing. That makes my moon sign sing, because that's what I want to do. I want to pass the music that lives inside of me on to you. Did you guys put it down? I hope everybody got it right. It is Capricorn. And so we also know that when it's in Capricorn, it is in its antithesis. It's in its opposite. It's doing the exact opposite thing of what it does when it's in Cancer. So it's a little bit shut down or stifled, or it has to work harder to express itself. And anybody who has a Capricorn moon, I'm inviting you right now to leave a comment and let me know if it is kind of hard for you to talk about your feelings or show your feelings or do your feelings, or if it's hard for you to be mushy and, you know, ooey gooey lovey dovey. And if you're not like a squishy soft person, let me know. If you are a Capricorn moon person and you're super ooey gooey, squishy, soft, mushy, cry at everything, oh my God, tell me all your chart. Tell me where your moon is. What house is it in? Is it in the 12th? Is it in the 4th? Like, where is it? And what is your sun sign? Because that's very rare. So we also know the moon is exalted in Taurus. It likes being in Taurus. It functions very well. There's an emotional stability with Taurus. And we know that the opposite sign of Taurus is, dun, dun, dun. You guys write it down below. Scorpio. And so we know that the moon is in its fall there. So what does it mean? Is that awful and horrible? No, it's just those are kind of bad words, and those were words used like 2,000 years ago. But when it's in its fall, it just also is very shy and private and protective, extra so, like it's not already that in Cancer. And so it's kind of locked down, and it's hard to reveal its vulnerability. And the moon needs to be vulnerable. It doesn't like to be vulnerable always, but it needs to, because vulnerability is synonymous with trust. Trust creates intimacy. Intimacy creates love. Did you get that? That's the formula. You guys, that is the whole formula. And that is the formula to your moon sign. That is the formula to healthy relationships, is when you can trust enough to develop intimacy with another person, which then therefore creates love. And when you can do that, and when you can do that pretty well, you have a high functioning moon sign. Do you have a high functioning moon sign? Tell me, do you? And what sign is it in? What house is it in? And in what aspect is it in? And I also always love to know your age. Why age? Because I want to know if you have already experienced your Saturn return, your first Saturn return, your second Saturn return, your lunar return. And I want to know if you've had your nodal axis, reverse nodal axis, conjunction, or your nodal axis return. So I can know those things if you tell me your age. So I always love it when you leave me your age. So leave me your age whenever you leave a comment. Thank you for that. So I gave you that little reminder because I'm going to tell you a little secret tip here. I don't find this in any books, and this is the secret. Yes, it's important to know where your moon is in your chart. You can only know what house it's in by knowing your birth time. When you create your chart on the internet with a free software program, if it's literally on the cusp, like it's literally sometimes in the 7th and sometimes in the 6th, I highly recommend that you get a chart from me. So you can truly know if it's in the 6th or the 7th, because it really does matter. And if it's within 2 degrees of a cusp, you can take into consideration both houses, but I'm the kind of person where I'm a purist, and I actually like to know specifically and truly, is it in the 6th or is it in the 7th? Because I don't want to do 2 moon lessons. I really only need 1. 1 is hard enough, right? I do recommend, if you've got a moon sign that shifts between houses, to get to go buy a chart through my shop, because I find that my charts are really highly accurate. Anyways, this is sort of my secret little tip and trick, and the scholars talk about this. And I wanted to share it with you because, and it's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to do this whole entire series, because I just found that there's so much superficial information about the moon on the internet. You know that the moon relates to the sign Cancer. And because the moon is naturally the ruler of the sign of Cancer, any planet in your chart that is in the sign of Cancer will have an emotional and nurturing and sensitivity to it. It'll have a sensitive quality to it. And it also means the moon in your chart, so your moon will be energizing, ruling those planets in your chart that are in the sign of Cancer. If you have your sun in Cancer, your moon, wherever it is in your chart, is ruling your sun in Cancer, and it is the fuel that your sun is using. So it's the gas that goes into the car being your sun sign. If your Mars is in Cancer, wherever your moon, let's say your moon is in Aquarius in the 6th, that's what's running your Mars. So you have to blend that moon sign energy and house placement with your Mars sign and your Mars house placement. And together, that shows you how your Mars energy is working. So wherever you have Cancer in your chart, whatever house you have Cancer in, your moon sign, whatever moon sign it is, even if your moon's not in Cancer, is running that house, is running those themes, is running emotional juice and energy and high sensitivity, high intuition, love and nurturance, and needs deep, deep security in that house and for those planets. So let's say you have Cancer in the 12th house, but you don't have any planets there. Well, your moon sign, wherever it is, and in whatever house it's in, that moon sign and house is running your entire 12th house. It is the fuel and it is the energy that is running that house. You have to blend it with Cancerian energy if Cancer is on the cusp of your 12th house. So you would run those energies together to understand the watercolors that create your landscape, and they all blend together. We're not doing pointillism and we're not working with acrylic paint. We don't have fine edges. We have blurred edges. So if you have Cancer in the 12th house cusp and that's yellow, and let's say you've got the moon in Sagittarius in the 5th house, well, the moon in Sagittarius in the 5th house, so the 5th house and Sagittarius are the fuel, are the energy for your Cancer 12th house issues. And you have to blend all those meanings together to understand your emotional makeup. And if you don't do that, you can't understand just the very beginning foundation of your moon sign. Then we're going to talk about the aspects to other planets, and we're going to talk about if it's out of bounds or not. And then we're going to talk about the relationship to the sun and to your rising sign. And then we're going to talk about, right, on and on and on. We're going to talk about it in relationship to the nodal axis. So, and then we're going to talk about the phase in which the moon was when you were born. And so there's a lot to cover here, but I'm just giving you an idea. So if you have any planets in Cancer, that is huge. That is enormous. Like, God wanted you to be an emotional creature. So if you've got any planets in Cancer, it means those planets run with high emotional frequency and vibrancy, and they are highly triggered planets. They are emotionally charged. They are subjective. They are not objective. They are how you see the world, how you experience the world, how you do the world, what you learned about the world, what your interpretation, what your impressions, and what your feelings are, not what the world says. They're highly subjective. So what I really want you to do is go look and tell me what house Cancer is in. And if you've got it in 2 houses, then you have 2 emotional, really, really emotional houses. Whatever house has Cancer on the cusp of it, that house is ruled by the moon. So if you've got a little bit of Cancer at the tail end of the 11th house, but it is on the cusp of the 12th house also, then yes, a piece of the 11th house is emotional and is ruled by your moon. But the 12th house is really, truly the house. That house is truly ruled by wherever your moon is. So the moon, your moon, wherever it is and whatever sign it is actually ruling, running, driving, steering, bossing around the subject matter of that house that Cancer sits in. And that's no small thing. So I want you to pay attention to wherever Cancer is in your chart. It's absolutely critical. It is so, so critical because this is the deepest, 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 deepest part of you. And it's hidden. And you have to get in touch with this hidden part inside of you in order to formulate and have good relationships. And if you don't have good relationships, if you attract bad relationships, you really, really have to look at what house has Cancer in it and what relationship does this house have in relationship to your moon sign. Does your moon sign like this house? Do the planets in that house like your moon sign? We have to look at that. So put in the comments below, where is Cancer in your chart? And then where is the moon in your chart by sign and by house? I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer all the questions because I am so busy. And thank you all so much. I mean, I'm booked like 4.5 months out. That's one of the reasons why I built an incredible team. So you can always get a reading with somebody on my team. But if you want to get a reading with me, you can. But I'm booked about, well, between 2 and 3 months out usually. But I do try to answer the questions. And if you're a super supporter, I really, really make you a priority. And so thank you all, whoever you are, for being a super supporter. I really appreciate it. And I love you. I love you. I love you being a part of this community. And I'm going to do some moon readings in my next super supporter members only exclusive videos using real charts. So your chart could be picked. So if you are a super supporter, my last video, I did 4 different people's charts from my super supporters, and I'm so grateful. It's only 25 cents a day, and you can get a free little mini reading from me, potentially, but they're all random. And so I'm going to do some moon readings for my next members only video. So wherever Cancer is in your chart, you're seeking security and safety and nurturance and acceptance and deep emotional connection, and you want to be deeply understood and at the deepest level. And you also really need kind of unconditional mother's love here. This is sort of your soft spot. This is where you're very sensitive. Even if you don't have any planets in Cancer, I personally don't have one planet in Cancer, but I still have this level of sensitivity in a place in my chart because it does rule a house, as it does for everybody. This is the house where you're going to seek tranquility, security, safety, nurturance, love, acceptance. And this is also the place in life where you will be highly intuitive and even psychic. This house will show you the arena in life where you operate on an intuitive wavelength in all matters that are relevant to that house placement. Do you guys know the houses? Please tell me that you do. And if you don't, go watch my video on the houses, part 1 and part 2. You have to have that inside of you. If you don't know the houses, you can't even do astrology. I just want you to think about this Cancerian placement in your own chart for this video. And I want you to go check out where your moon is by sign and by house. And then I want you to think about those houses being connected. That technique is going to be flushed out in my next video. I'm going to show you if you've got Cancer in the first house, what does that mean? If you have Cancer in the second house, what does that mean? And I'll walk you through the houses 1 through 12. But for the purpose of this video, I want you to at least know this technique and this tip that nobody ever talks about. So where is Cancer in your chart? And that is where your moon is running, ruling, directing, driving your world. I hope you love this, and I can't wait to share with you in my next video all of the different placements. And we're going to talk about the moon coming up for the next couple of weeks. And I can't wait to share it all with you. Thank you for being here. My name's Meredith with Soul Navigation. Please like and subscribe and share my video with at least one person in your life that you feel will benefit from this, so we can start getting the word out about the truth of astrology. Take good care. Bye for now.